Over the course of the last few clips, we discussed Crockett's political rise up the ladder to finally achieving that coveted seat in Congress. And although his first term was met with mixed successes, we see that Crockett was undeterred and decided to run for yet another term, which he won. And it was in the second term between the years of 1829 to 1831 that one of Crockett's most notable moments as a congressman would cement itself in American history and to the American mind. Because in 1830, Crockett, much to the surprise of his constituents, openly opposed Andrew Jackson's Indian removal bill. Now, of course, this was somewhat of a bad move on his part because he had committed what they called political suicide. And we see that, sure enough, that's what it led to, because Crockett not only lost the support of his friends and constituents, but lost his third term for re-election to William Fitzgerald in 1831. And it was this defeat, prompted by his opposal of Jackson's Indian removal bill, that led to not only political defeat, but personal defeat as well. Because in 1831, following his defeat to Fitzgerald, Elizabeth Patton, living back in West Tennessee, had finally had enough. She had grown tired of his constant hunting, excessive drinking, and abandoning his family, as well as the fact of the matter, he had accrued all of these major debts through failed business ventures or otherwise. And so when Crockett returns home to West Tennessee, he finds that Elizabeth has packed up the children and all their belongings and moved to live with family in Gibson County. But now, 1831 was not to be solely a year for crushing defeats for David Crockett. For although he was living a bachelor's life in West Tennessee, hunting bear, we see that a play would be written that would help to slowly but surely increase the growing fame and reputation of David Crockett. Now, this play was written in August of 1831 by a man named James Paulding, and the play was called Lion of the West. The main character, of course, was Nimrod Wildfire, who, when he come out on stage dressed in a wild catskin cap and wearing buckskin clothes, spouting all sorts of backwoods jargon, it didn't take the public long to, at least in their minds, make a connection between Nimrod and Crockett. And this play was very, very popular. So popular, in fact, that when Crockett got re-elected for a third term to Congress in 1833, he was actually treated to a viewing of The Lion of the West. But between this and other newspaper articles and the Crockett almanacs that gradually came out, his fame and legend was growing. Although the fame was growing, the fortune was certainly not to come. But his celebrity status was firmly entrenched in the American mind when in early 1834 he released his own autobiography to the public, which was an instant success, and saw him, in fact, going on a big tour of the eastern cities to essentially sign books and meet and greet with the public. But before he went on this tour, he was approached by the Whig Party, who asked if he would consider the idea of being their next presidential candidate. But whatever the case, Crockett, well, he must have mulled it over to some extent, but he went off touring the cities and enjoyed being treated to these wonderful parties and the adulation of all the crowds and the public who came out to see this celebrated frontiersman. But while Crockett was enjoying the high life in the eastern cities, things were not going so well for him in Washington, D.C., because the press vilified him, saying that who does he think he is, gallivanting around the country and vilifying President Jackson when he's not even here when Congress is in session to vote on certain important matters or to represent the district that has seen fit to elect him. Now, of course, we'll see that this is going to lead to Crockett's eventual political downfall and lead him to going elsewhere to look for a new start, which we'll discuss in our next clip, Crockett Goes to Congress.